Hi, welcome back to the channel, on with my Nightmare on Elm Street series of reviews, and today we are at part 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Apologies, I'm quite red in the face right now. I ate a load of spicy food before doing this review, but it is going to distract me from the pain of re-experiencing this sequel. This is definitely in the conversation for one of the worst horror sequels out there. It's kind of an abomination of a film. A lot of people have reviewed this and given it the hardest time for many years. So I desperately have tried on this most recent rewatch to find anything of value in this sequel, because it's definitely an awful film, and after reviewing it, this is probably the last time I intend to watch this. But watching it again with fresh eyes these years later, there are a couple of small things to appreciate about it, I think. I can understand to some extent why some people might find some things fun about it, but overall, at this point so far, it is easily the worst film in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. And something I'll say about the plot of this film, when you actually look at all the elements on paper, there is something interesting there. There are bits of this film where when you think about them conceptually as ideas, there is some interesting stuff that definitely could have gone somewhere, I think. You know, like even in the opening scenes, just kind of the way the film is set up and the kind of news scenario taking place in the future and the psychosis going on. Like there's stuff there where I think, oh, that was actually quite a unique way to go with the story. And there's definitely some elements which I'll get into later in the second half, which I think would have worked a lot better had it not been in this film. The main problem with this film is all in the execution. They basically decided to turn this whole thing into what feels like a parody of a Nightmare on Elm Street film. It's so cartoonishly over the top. It's basically a full-on comedy at this point, like literally like a cartoon. Like in terms of the graphics, in terms of the performances, Robert Englund's performance as Freddy Krueger, it's almost self-aware how ridiculously over the top it is. And for a lot of people, myself included, that love those early Nightmare on Elm Street films, the original especially, this is just such a far cry from that. And to see that this was the movie that at the time was the real send-off. I mean, even now, I guess because New Nightmare is quite a different, it's set in a different universe. You know, Freddy's Dead effectively was the final movie in canon within the set of this story, and to see it be sent out like this was a huge disappointment given how strong the franchise started off. So I think I can understand why people probably went into this at the time and thought, what the hell am I watching? You've got Johnny Depp cameos in here, you've got Wizard of Oz references, all sorts of wild stuff in here. It's really over the top. But I do think watching it now, and if you're trying to enjoy it, there is some funny moments, there is some creative scenes, like the scene on the start on the plane where the dream sequence is taking place, and you suddenly like the character of John realises he's in a dream and he falls out the plane. There's some cool visually creative stuff going on there that I do have some fun with, and is slightly better than I remember. But the whole first hour of this film, it's so laughably over the top. There's no way to take any of it seriously, and it no longer can be taken seriously as a horror movie. Tonally, the movie is all over the shop as well. Like in the second half, it does get a lot darker, especially when it gets into this further backstory about Freddy Krueger, when the daughter is seeking out his history and stuff, where you find out that he was taking the children, the fact he'd been killing them and molesting, all this kind of stuff, and his wife ends up discovering him, and you see how he dealt with that. There is all these kind of interesting elements that have been put in there, but I really wish that had been included in one of the earlier sequels, because I do think there's something there that could have worked in one of the better films, but within the context of Freddy's Dead, with the atmosphere and the tone that it's set up, it just feels so wrong. Like once you finally start to get on board with the cartoonish nature of the movie and enjoy it on that level, and then it suddenly goes into full-on, like really bleak, dark territory again, it doesn't really work. Like as a coherent film, I don't think it works particularly well at all. The final sequence is definitely the worst of it as well. And, you know, I didn't actually realise watching this again that this was a movie that at the time, not the whole movie, but the ending was meant to be in 3D. and there is a cue in the film for when you're supposed to put on these 3D glasses. Literally in the movie, one of the characters is given 3D glasses to take as a tool into this last dream where she's going to overcome and beat Freddy. And that scene was meant to be an actual 3D effect for the film. There's all this story about these dream worms that have come to... It basically explains the powers and the supernatural side of Freddy and how he's able to be immortal, how he's able to get away with all the stuff that he's done. And when you're watching this now in DVD format, the effects work is absolutely laughable. It is dreadful to look at, and kind of it's sad to see the final Nightmare film go out like this. I don't know what Robert Englund's thoughts on this movie are, but it's kind of sad to see. It's a really rushed ending as well. When you even just get past the bad special effects, when they all come out after having defeated him, and the girl just announces Freddy's dead. Boom, cut to credits. It's just so bad. You kind of end up scratching your head, wondering what the hell just happened in the final moments of that film. So, yeah, sad to see the main storyline of the Nightmare on Elm Street world end like this in this horrible sequel, but. You know, I do think there are a couple of things there to appreciate, to enjoy about the movie, if you can get into the tone of the film, it being like much more a comedy. So, yeah, this I think, again, like with The Dream Child, now that I've reviewed this film, I feel like this is the last time I'll probably ever go back to revisit it. So I'm only going to give this one a 1.5 out of 5. Might be being a little bit generous there, but please do let me know down in the comments what you think of Freddy's Dead. I feel like everyone else, is this also the worst sequel, do you think, in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise? Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Thanks so much for watching this review. Do take care, and I'll see you next time.